If Vegas had been taking bets on who the next Armory deck hero is going to be, I would have definitely lost money betting on either Olympia or Betsy. But instead, late last week announced, that's right, this guy right here, Sir Boltyn, is going to be coming in July as the next Armory deck hero. So let's talk a bit about that today, my excitement around it, and also kind of maybe what we can expect based on some of the learnings out of the Kayo deck that dropped last week. A huge shout out to our channel members for supporting what we do here. If you want to get involved with the channel and the Dice Commando community, please consider joining as a channel member. Remember, these videos are only possible with your support. You can show that support with a like, a subscribe, and by leaving us a comment and sharing your feedback. Community first, and go Commando. Hey there, my flesh and blood friends. Welcome back to Dice Commando and Go Again, a fabulous cast. Thanks for checking in today, talking the new Boltyn Armory deck that will be coming in July. So as I mentioned, this one kind of caught me off guard that this would be who we're seeing, but I'll be honest, it doesn't make it any less exciting. We also got 2 spoiler cards. I don't know why I used air quotes. We got 2 spoiler cards out of the deal as well that are on the product sheet. So we'll talk about that. And then I also want to talk, kind of what I expect this deck to look like, more than likely, come release or once we get the deck list. And a lot of that's based on the Kayo deck. Now, I want to be very clear. We only have one data point in terms of these Armory decks, right? We have the Kayo deck. But so to say, oh, well, it's only going to get 3 extra IMs or something like that, that's not where I'm going. But I do think we can gather a lot of information from their approach on the Kayo deck in terms of making it very, very, very straightforward for new players in terms of how they did, right? They didn't have the BRB, right? I don't want to rehash that whole thing. It's been rehashed plenty of times. But I think we can take the product design approach in terms of our discussion around Boltyn. So July 12th, 2024, we do expect to see the Boltyn deck coming out. It nails exactly a lot of the things that we already have come to probably accept out of the Armory deck product. It's a $40 product. It's going to come with a complete deck. I think it's fair to assume we would not expect to see a sideboard out of this one based on the comments that I saw some of the devs make, or a specific dev make, around them intentionally not doing it and making that decision. And either way, even if they did change paths on that, this likely is already in flight enough that they couldn't correct course on this one. So even if that does change in the future, likely we won't see on this. So we did get 2 spoiler cards out of that, so let's go ahead and talk about that. The first one is Warrior Equipment Legs. So when this defends, you may charge your hero's soul. If a yellow card's charged this way, create a Quicken token, and then it has Blade Break. So putting this into context of, right now, Boltyn runs 2 things, basically, right? Could run the Violent Dynamos, right? If you're doing the Saber thing, absolutely could do that. Great value there. But more commonly, or at least for myself, I guess, with the Raiden build, I guess it depends on the Rip build, fair enough. But it's not uncommon, I should say, to see Snapdragon Scalers. And I do, to a certain degree, see this as being kind of more in line with the Snapdragon Scalers type play, where, assume you've got a Bolt of Courage in Arsenal or something like that, you could do that, charge soul, have the Quicken, or then maybe you do a full defend turn and they do some setup. Either way, right? I don't know the full picture on this card yet. I don't know that anybody does. It doesn't seem, if you're comparing it obviously to like the Kayo chess piece, nowhere near in the same league, but it could very well be more in line of like the Kayo arm piece, right? Which also is very good. It's just not the same as Apex Bonebreaker. And again, let's not really go there, but I'm trying to put it in context. I don't know on this one. Maybe. I mean, the Blade Break 2 is not to be underestimated. So, let's be fair on that. All right, the next one's Saving Grace. So this one was surprising to me because we do have Soul Shield, which is really good. So this is a defense reaction. So before we get into the tactics of the card, let's just talk about what seeing another Boltyn specific defense reaction likely means. So first off, it means we're probably not going to see Soul Shield in the deck. I think that's a fair guess. Also, having this and Soul, even outside of the deck and moving into how this impacts Boltyn, I think this pushes Boltyn very defensively. I think this is a very good card for an add-in, right, on kind of a Lumina go wide deck. I mean, it makes a lot of sense because this can, again, help you get more stuff in your soul, defend better. This itself doesn't go to soul, but you charge and you get the -2. which is an interesting way to do it, right? As opposed to having this defend for 5 or whatever. So I think that if you're playing kind of defensive setup, trying to get a bigger soul and do your thing, I think this makes a lot of sense. So yeah, those are the 2 ones we have so far. I mean, again, I'm not going to claim that because of the Kayo deck, we're only going to see 1 more M and we will see another piece. We might not, right? Doesn't matter. There's no way to glean data from that. So let's move into kind of the next part of this. I'll go ahead and bring the product sheet up. Let's go ahead and move into the next part of this, which is, how do we expect this deck to play? So there's 2 real ways to play Boltyn right now. There's Saber go wide. Well, I guess there's 3 if you count a hybrid, right? Which some people have done successfully. But you have the Sabers go wide Lumina, and then you have a Raiden build. I'm just being honest. I expect this deck to be a Raiden build because A, it's his spec weapon. B, I feel it's a lot simpler to set up. So to that point, I think you're going to see Via Vanguard in the deck. I think you're going to see cards like Battlefield Blitz, maybe like Valiant Thrust in the deck. I actually wouldn't be surprised if this deck doesn't have Lumina Ascension in it. I don't think that would be overall. I don't think that would be a shock to me. I do think that might be a place that, again, if it's not in there, would that be a place kind of like the Blood Rush Bellows thing on Kayo, where there was some feedback on that one? It kind of becomes a lightning rod for that. I think maybe it could be. But we were talking last night, Kevin and Rick, we were talking at the Tap House after the Armory last night, and he mentioned Celestial Cataclysm, and I was like, oh, actually, that would be a pretty good include for this. So I could see a card like that getting reprinted and added into this, right? A value and all that aside, it's pretty conceptual to, defend and charge, which again, to the point of the 2 new cards, that's kind of what they're doing. There's other cards that do that. I wouldn't be surprised if we have like, a take flight, kind of like a basic, maybe like an old school, I guess, Raiden build. And then you have Cataclysms in there kind of as your pop off and to do things. I think that's more my approach. And I feel that deck on the whole is probably more new player friendly. Now, before you're hitting the dislike button and all that, I'm not necessarily saying that's what I want the deck to be. Actually, it kind of is, I guess. I mean, I'm just trying to be realistic, right? I don't think it will have, because it's probably not going to have Courage of Bladehold in there, right? So, doesn't do Courage of Bladehold, probably doesn't do Cintauri Sabers because that's not really his weapon. You kind of see the whole point, right? So I think probably Lumina Ascension doesn't go in there. That becomes one of the, go upgrade early type of things, and you have options and they can go explore. So I don't know. Let me know below. What do you think? Do you think that I'm on point likely in how the deck will end up looking from a build standpoint, regardless of what the includes are or aren't? Do you think that makes sense to be a Raiden build? And again, I think probably it does. Let me know what you're thinking below. So anyway, I'm pretty excited to see this come out. It's really not that far away. I'm shooting this on May 5th, going live on the 6th. 2 months. Seems like a long time, but it's really not. We're going to have Miss Mail in there and all sorts of stuff happening. So, and then we'll be getting this very soon. So anyway, this is pretty exciting. I am still now who the hell knows, right? Like I said, I would have a bet on Olympia, probably then rolling into Betsy. Now we've got Boltyn. Who the hell knows? We're going to see in the next one. So very, very interesting stuff to me. Could be a part of the Misfail hero, to be honest. So anyway, we'll see. Let me know your thoughts below. Nothing else, folks. Go Commando.